because you walk into a rape crisis center, you're not going to see men or boys posters in that center.
Sure.
So what are we saying to the 38%, I stand to be corrected, but the 38% of boys who are sexually abused by the time they're 18 in our country? We're saying you don't have a place to go to.
Yeah.
The actual synonym for men don't speak is men aren't vulnerable.
Yes.
Because even when I'm speaking to my boys, I'm speaking to my boys from the perspective of I want my boy to support me in whatever I'm saying.
Sure.
So if me and my wife are having a situation, I'm not going to put it out all clear.
Yeah.
Because I want my boy to be like, yeah, dog, no, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
sure.
You should do this.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to That Husband Podcast with me, Black Newborn. Here we are husbands who aren't where we want to be, but certainly are not where we used to be. We are imperfect, always failing forward, trying to know better so that we can do better.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to That Husband Podcast with me, Black Newborn. This is where husbands try to know better so that we can do better. This is part 2 of our conversation with Hungani Ndlovu. You've probably seen part 1. If you haven't, go check it out. It was a super dope conversation. But we're continuing with the man himself. Bro, thanks, man.
Yeah.
For indulging us and giving us gems.
Of course.
It's been dope, brother. As we did in part 1, maybe you could give us the second husband. Who inspired you to get married or stay married. I don't know who's going to surpass Matthews, bro.
Hey, man,
bro.
You'll be surprised.
Angas, bro.
Back on. I'm joking. But I'm not joking. So second husband, this one goes out to a dear brother of mine. His name is Brett Jones. He's no longer in South Africa. I won't disclose your location, but it's okay. But Brett Jones, I met him at a church.
Okay.
And he was like within the multimedia space, but also ran one of like the connect groups, home sell for those of you who are still home selling. And myself and my wife ended up going to his family's connect group, and just he's honestly a solid guy.
Sure.
Young guy, and we gravitated towards each other, and eventually like their company covered our marriage, or our wedding rather, not marriage, our wedding day. And like just the way in which he's modeled himself as a husband prior to him then becoming a father was so unique to me, because we're so close in age, and I was just like, you feel like you're so much older than me, because the way in which you walk your day-to-day life as a husband seems like you've been in this thing.
Sure.
Like you've gone through everything already. Like you're like 15 years deep. Yeah. And they weren't, they were still fresh. But it was just, I guess, his foundation in Christ, and just how he understood the role of being a husband from a biblical perspective. And I think that was a huge challenge to me.
Sure.
Because it wasn't something that was like, oh, let me learn how to be a husband from a biblical perspective. You read verses, and you're like, okay, God, tell me, like, how do you pray? And, but I never actually took the time to be like, how do I become a husband the way God designed husbanding to be? So then, like spending time with him at some point, like, we were doing the whole discipleship thing, and it was just like spending time with him and just getting to know more about him and him about me. I just realized that, okay, cool. He doesn't have it all figured out, but he trusts that God's going to help him every single step of the way.
Sure.
Because yes, he still has these challenges. He still has that. I have that. But I guess then it becomes the question of, will you be obedient when this happens, or how will you respond when that happens? And having those conversations and having to be held accountable to my brother was then like, oh my gosh, okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I see why I was easily drawn to that, or why I would easily run away and hide in the corner there, because I didn't want to have this amount of vulnerability, this amount of transparency. So yeah, Brett Jones, man, he's what a guy. Like,
Still, man.
yeah, super, super amazing guy. Yeah.
How many kids does he have now?
They have 2 kids now.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
2 kids. Yeah, and he's a super cool dad.
Yeah.
Like, those, we all think we're the coolest dad in the world. Nah, he takes the cup.
I'm so arrogant. I've told my daughter to say that. So every time I walk out of her room, I'm like, who's the coolest girl in the world? She's like, me. And then she's forced not to say, who's the coolest dad? I'm like, it's me.
I mean, if that works for you.
She's going to be 15 and think, what the heck?
It's like, nah, I was forced into that.
Yeah.
I did not sign a consent form.
Please. Right? Yeah, please. Because that's what's happening with kids now. My parents made me take this picture when I was an infant. I did not give any consent.
Puppy act. Let's go.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, shout out
dope,
to
man.
Brett. Shout out to Brett.
Yeah, I know. Shout outs to him. Shout outs to him and husbands like him who are not afraid of exposing their scars, man, especially to brothers.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing that I think leads us into why I was interested to chat to you, bro. So dudes who don't open up, dudes who don't speak, dudes who bottle stuff in, and obviously that could translate in a million ways.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's ways that are obviously detrimental to themselves, to those around them.
To society.
And and the people who feel the brunt of that the hardest, women, children, and so it would be, just to say it's a great thing for guys to speak, I think even undermines the impact of what it would mean for men to open up and speak. I think it would be, I can't even find an adjective to describe.
It's life-changing.
The transformation.
It's genuinely life-changing.
Yeah, bro.
Like, it's so crazy because for those of you watching or listening that don't know, I'm a director of an organization called Metrix Men. And we counsel and support male victims of abuse, men who are going through divorce, and a whole bunch, anything related to men, boys. We have like grootmans who pull through at like age 65, and they're like, I don't know how I'm doing what I'm doing.
Sure, bro.
I want to change. I want to this,
bro.
Yeah. And then literally get them some assistance. And at that ripe age of 65, you now have a man who's like, I can't believe I didn't do this sooner. And all he did was get into a room and talk to someone.
Wow, bro.
And he stayed consistent in talking to that someone.
Wow.
You know, you have men who come through with families because like, my family is afraid of me. I want to change that.
Sure.
Cool.
Sure.
We're down to help you, man, as long as that's what you want. Sure. You know, the thing about like this journey is that if you don't want it, it's not going to help.
Yeah.
Like we can put you through all types of different, if you don't want it. And that's what we always say to like the wives or the children, because they come and say, no, we want to bring our father here, or we want to, and it's like, if he doesn't want it, there's nothing that's going to happen.
Sure.
You know, so even from a young age, it's like, that's why we're so fixated on this thing of representation, because you walk into a rape crisis center, you're not going to see men or boys posters in that center.
Sure.
So what are we saying to the 38%, I stand to be corrected, but the 38% of boys who are sexually abused by the time they're 18 in our country?
Sure.
We're saying you don't have a place to go to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the very same boys who then grow
Become.
up to be men in our society. And then we look at GBV and we're like, men are trash, but we haven't taken the time to understand the root of the problem so that we can actually solve the root. So when you have these conversations, then you have people who are like, you're either justifying something that's not good, or you're protecting something that's not good. And it's like, no, by me saying, let's also focus, keyword there being also, focus on the boys and the men, that far better, in my opinion, will help the woman and the girl.
100, bro.
Because if we're helping you at age 6, when your next door neighbor decided to do some wild things to you when they were just supposed to babysit because your mom and dad went out for dinner, now we're leaving you. Then by the time you're 12, by the time you're 15, we're like, what? You're only 6? Go, boy. You took one for the team.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
It ain't no trophy.
Yeah. And especially if the woman was older.
It ain't no trophy.
It's not a trophy, bro.
You know, so like the trauma, the scars, it's a real thing. But talking about it,
Sure.
even just our organization, it started, Martin Paldis is the founder.
Yeah.
And he started the organization because he saw other men talk. But other men not in this country, abroad. And he was watching, I think it was Oprah Winfrey show or something. And he saw some other men talking and was like, yeah, this is what needs to happen. Because he finally saw other men who had the same story as him.
Yeah. 100, bro.
So how many of us are out there? You know, and people always like try and think of the most horrific thing. And it's like, no, divorce is crazy. That process,
it's like death,
bro.
Yeah.
So to have a support structure when you're going through divorce, it's a huge help.
Yeah.
You know, you have men who lose everything. Like, you don't have a cent to your name, you don't have a roof, you don't, nothing.
Yeah, sure.
So then you think that's not traumatic? Like, he must just pick up and, you know, so we have like a whole bunch of different ways to assist. And yeah, we just trying to make sure that the family doesn't break, but rather gets rebuilt.
100, bro.
Because the way things are set up right now, it's like, let's get him out of the house. You know, let's get custody of the kids to the mother. And it's like, I get it. We're trying to protect and we're trying to this, but we're breaking a family. So how do we restore the family? Because if you don't watch part 1, we spoke about family basically, you know, because that's so important. You know, instead we want to kick him out and then everyone is like separated and then he has only 2 days in the week to see the kids. Like, it's a whole ripple effect that does so much damage. We're not saying that there wasn't damage already, but how do we restore that?
Yeah. Prevent further damage as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. How long have you been involved with this?
So I came back from the US 2015. I've been involved since 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So at first I joined, so I was looking for a place because when I was in the US, I was in a domestic violence situation for about 1.5 years. Okay. So by the time I came back home, I was just like, man, I need just to, I just need to breathe.
This was when you were at school?
So I studied that side and then I had like a working permit for about 1 year.
Okay.
And I couldn't find a place. Like, I was calling all of the ones we know. And I couldn't find a place. And then eventually I found Metrix Men. I think it was like on the 3rd page on Google or something. Wow. You know, if you go past page 2, like, it's far.
And the fact that you even stuck it out.
Like, genuinely, I was like going down the list, calling. Some numbers don't even go through. It's crazy. And it's a hotline. No, genuine. Like, call some of these hotlines that we have. You'll be surprised.
Sheesh, bro.
You'll be surprised. So even now, like when we're doing work, I'm always like, we can't, because sometimes we have a family that needs support on both ends,
Yeah.
from a male and female perspective. And it's like, unfortunately, we can't refer the mother or the daughter anywhere because we don't have a good enough idea of what that organization is doing.
He's doing, yeah, sure.
You know, so because it is such a lucrative space for NGOs, they make a lot of money from it, you know. So so 2017 I was reaching out because I needed some help, and then I met up with Martin, and he kind of started to be my guy, and we started to chat, and then eventually I was like becoming a lot more popular within society, and I was like, you know what, I want to be the face of this.
Sure.
Men don't speak. I want to be the face.
Sure.
I want to be the face. And then we started to work around that, and then he was like, why don't you just join me and like let's do this thing together.
Yeah.
I was like, cool, say less. Let's go.
Yeah.
What? So what do you need?
Yeah.
And then we started to, I was like, cool.
Sure.
And then since then it's been a journey, and now we have a space in Craig Hall in Johannesburg with about 17 beds. So we have a space where men can come if they need some form of refuge, but we also have like programs for people that are addicts, men that are addicts, so it's like it's been a journey, and there's more like things coming soon. Hopefully, if you're watching, stick to what we've spoken about. You know, because it's been really a tough space to crack because of how taboo, in inverted commas, it is for us to talk about the fact that men are not just perpetrators. You know, the minute you say that, it's like,
yeah, no, 100%.
You know, so
100%. We have an organization. It's a counseling center called Mahau, and it's a outreach arm of our church. It was the first time I actually heard people say that they want to care for the perpetrator as well. You know, I remember the first time I heard that, being a man myself, you know, my knee-jerk reaction was, what? And then I had to pause and think, like if we don't fix men, right, help men, this thing will forever continue, right? Because I think men play a unique role in society, and we could obviously get into that. But for me, husbands particularly, you know, my wife is still blown by a conversation we've been having around the joy that a husband has, and the joy that a husband has translates, you know, to both wife, kids, and then, you know, inevitably transfers to all of society. You know? If a dad walks into the house and he's pissed, the whole mood changes. If he's happy, the whole mood changes. Right? People could be bored, but if the dad walks in, his mood is high. His energy's up there. Just the whole house tends to change, and we don't. You know, if you think of historically, like a lot of sitcoms, especially American sitcoms, the dad is always the clown. You know? So he doesn't even, at least the picture we saw, he doesn't even regulate the temperature of the house in terms of energy, in terms of joy, in terms of whatever, right? But he's just a dude that we make fun of, or he's there if we need somebody to carry stuff, you know. And once in a while, the mother will bring him close as she disciplines the kids, and he's supposed to stand there as the face to say, "You better listen to your mom."
Listen to your mom,
right? Yeah, right. And I think for the longest time, we then grow up with that perception that the dad is just supposed to be, you know, financially providing, sitting in the background and not doing anything. But to actually say, hey, we elevate the value of men, husbands particularly, that you're not just a financial provider, but you're a joy provider, right? You're a happiness provider, right? You obviously provide guidance, etc., and whatever. But don't shrink, you know, don't relegate your role to just financial provision, you know. But there's more that you bring.
Way more.
Way more.
Right? And it's such a misconception of husbanding, of fathering, because you have people who just think, oh no, as long as I bring the bacon, like we're good.
No.
It's like, nah, bro.
It's the bare minimum.
Psychologically, what are you bringing to the table?
Yeah.
Psychologically.
Yeah.
emotionally,
Yeah.
what are you bringing
Yeah.
to the table? You know, because like if you use the idea of your wife being your best friend, your best buddy, like life partner,
Sure.
bruh, you can't just be bringing bacon. What? You telling me when you meet with your best friend, as in your homie,
Your
best
homie,
friend,
bro. Yeah.
you just bringing bacon?
Forget that,
Nah,
bro.
you out your, you throwing out your emotions.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
vulnerable.
yeah, yeah.
You got these jokes. You
Yeah.
got all of that, and it's like that's what stimulates your friendship. So how are you stimulating your marriage?
Yeah,
You know, because just bringing in that net of however much.
Yeah. We don't have beef with it, but
Yeah, no, it's cool, you know, but also it's not the end all and be all. You know, like if I could be a house husband, babe, and you know this, I would. You know, no, for real.
I'm with you.
Like I would do that any day. My brother-in-law,
homeschool
bro.
every
Yo,
day, bro.
my daughter will be speaking 7 languages right now.
Every
Like-
day. Every day.
My brother-in-law has a friend who became a house husband because his wife got a job, I think it was in Japan or something, and it was like a great job, covering everything. His bacon was like this, you know, compared to what they were offering. And they took the job, and he's like, he has never been so happy in his life, but to be a house husband. Like he's doing the lunches. He's the soccer dad with the, is it a Viano or Vito H1 whatever? Yeah, he's that guy. You know, he's there with the moms.
Come on,
man. You know, so
man.
I think like if more guys realized that, like the money aspect, provision aspect, that's not even on you. That's on God.
It's on God, bro.
Like you could hustle as hard as you want.
Yeah.
If God doesn't open that door,
Forget it, bro.
best believe all proposals are gonna be rejected. Best believe it's not gonna go through. When you send that invoice, they're gonna take 90 days to pay instead of 15 days.
my dog.
You know, so it's like that's not on you. And once you realize that, like, so cool, let's take that away because that's on God.
Yeah.
So what's left?
Yeah. Sure.
You know,
What are you bringing?
What are you bringing? You know, because you expect your wife to bring X and Y and Z and A and B and C. You know, when you coming to the house, your cup of tea must be ready. When 7 o'clock hits, dinner must be ready. When what hits, foot rub must be ready. You know, I don't know what you're expecting, but. So
and then she needs to be ready in bed by the time you get in.
Everything, you know, and she just came from work as well, you know, so she arrived at like 4:30, but she must still do anyway.
Everything, bro. Yeah.
So if the money is put aside, then actually, what are you bringing to the table? You know, how are you stimulating your wife mentally? How are you stimulating her emotionally, spiritually? You know, so like it's huge, man. It's far beyond just provision because provision doesn't come from us anyway.
No. I find it a myth that sorry to interrupt your viewing. We'll shortly get back to that episode. But if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you haven't hit the notification bell, please do that so that you're always updated on the episodes that we drop here. We want to change the nation. One husband at a time, one marriage at a time, one family at a time. So if you are inspired, encouraged by all the content that we produce on this podcast, stick around because next week there's another husband who's going to inspire us to do exactly that.
The institution of marriage started to feel like a prison for her. It started to feel like she was suffocating. It started to feel like it wasn't working. She still wanted to be with me, but she wanted to have the opportunity to do other things, and that just couldn't work.
I find it a myth that so women would say that guys don't speak, and I think at least, with the point I'm trying to make, maybe the correct thing is to say they're not speaking to you because they are speaking to their boys.
To some degree.
Yeah.
To some degree.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes also the men don't speak. Ideology is a real one in the sense that or if I could say in the sense that the actual synonym for men don't speak is men aren't vulnerable.
Yes.
Because even when I'm speaking to my boys, I'm speaking to my boys from the perspective of I want my boy to support me in whatever I'm saying.
Sure.
So if me and my wife are having a situation, I'm not going to put it out all clear.
Yeah.
Because I want my boy to be like, yeah, dog, no, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
sure.
You should do this.
Sure.
So that when I get back, I'm like, yeah, no, Tamba says Vel.
He agrees with me.
Exactly. You know, but if we are being vulnerable, then it becomes the conversation of where are we being vulnerable?
Yes.
Because vulnerability means that you feel safe enough
Yes.
to be able to open up to this individual because they're not going to judge you. And that's it.
Yeah.
Whether it's your wife, whether it's your homies, whoever it might be.
Sure.
Because even with your homies, you still want to have your chest out.
Yeah, you gotta.
You know, so I'm not going to be out here like, yo, dog, like, my wife actually asked me, like, for real, like, like, what's my plan in terms of leading our family?
Yeah.
And I don't know what to say.
You're
You're not going to say that.
Like a punk,
Yeah,
Sure.
you're not going to say that. You're going to be like, can you believe that she had the nerve to ask me?
Yes.
Like, how am I leading my family?
Yes.
Like, what does she think I'm doing?
Sure.
Like, yeah, dog. I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah.
You're always the one. You're always our captain. You're always, go on. You know, so, but when you can actually be comfortable enough to be a Brett Jones,
Sure.
then you can really get to like
Come on, bro.
the root of things. And it's like, okay, no, let's talk about it, bro.
100%, man.
What was your contribution to this thing?
And that's where I was going with the thing I was making. Because I'm like, I think gents speak, again, it might be very superficial at a surface level, but there's ways in which, whether it is the, sticking out my chest, proving that I'm the captain of the squad, there are cues that get our lips to open up and for us to share our thoughts.
Yeah.
And so my question was, how do we empower wives, women, to press the buttons that are gonna get dudes to be vulnerable with them, So I'm like, I don't know what insight you might have, with the work that you've done.
To be honest, like my opinion when it comes to that, it's really on how you speak to your husband.
Sure.
Regardless of the situation. Do you speak in a way that is to put him down? Or do you speak in a way that's to uplift him? And in other terms, one would say to honor.
Sure.
In other terms, one would say the way you speak to your husband, does it glorify God?
Sure.
So I think if we look at it from that perspective, then one can then get to the point where it's like, even when I'm speaking to my wife about a situation where I know I'm wrong, she still makes me feel like it's okay and I haven't done the worst thing in the world and I don't need to leave the house. Okay, love, I'm sorry. Can we actually break this thing down a bit more? Like, I actually realized that I'm at fault because I brought my energy from work and I got reprimanded at work. It actually had nothing to do with you. But because now the way that I came with my energy and then she came with her energy, we couldn't resolve anything, So I think, and it's difficult to pinpoint it to one thing because also like some people are different. You might not even be a believer.
Sure.
Well, then let's start there.
Yeah.
How's about you? Get on your knees and confess with your tongue. that Jesus is Lord. Because like when you really break it down on when you speak to your husband, does it glorify God?
Yeah.
You then need to understand, what does glorifying God look like?
100.
For you to then understand how to speak to your husband in order to give him the soft soil or rather fertile soil to be able to plant his seeds of vulnerability. Even just like with my relationship with my wife, like we had to get to the point of like, yo, I want to chat. Like I want us to chat because I was very like forward with my feelings and like whenever like
an artist, man.
I cry like this. Like I can cry right now. In fact, give me 2 seconds. I'm joking. So with my wife on the other hand, based on her life experience, she had put up a whole bunch of walls.
Sure.
And she had a process where she wanted to deal with things herself before coming into conversation. And if you don't know that about each other, then you're always butting heads. Because I'm like, yo, I want to talk right now. Because this, like, I got the frog in my throat, my chest is like, can we deal with this now so that we can go to bed nice? You know, and she's like, no, like, I haven't gotten my thoughts together. Like, okay, so you don't want to talk about this. It's like, no. Let's understand how we both deal with this. So once we got to that point, it's like, okay, cool. I'm feeling like this now. I'm raw, but I know she needs like at least 2 days. Yeah. So now I need to be patient with my rawness so that in 2 days' time, we can still have the conversation and I still feel the way I feel. Yeah. You know, so having those type of engagements allows you to then be able to be like, okay, cool. Yeah, man. Like, this person is not just out to get me. Like, they that's see, key, man. Yeah, no, that's like, key, you know, like once you realize that this person like is rooting for me regardless, then even in the difficult moments, we can have the difficult moments without it being, I'm trying to get one up on you.
Come on, bro.
Because we're playing for the same team. I always used to tell my wife, I'm like, the problem is here.
The problem is ours.
We are fighting against that thing. Yes. We are solving for X.
Yes.
It's not your X and my X.
Issue.
No.
Yeah, I'm not the issue.
You know?
The issue's there. Yeah.
So I think that can be one of the ways to help a wife to create a space for a husband. 1,000. But also now, it's not just on the wife, because you now need a husband who's looking for that space.
Yes.
Because if you're not looking for it, even if the wife does everything, puts billboards like, yo, it's here, here's the land.
Sure.
You're not going to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro. It's like that whole thing of you don't see a red car until you're looking for a red car. Yeah. Now you see it everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you're not looking for that fertile soil to be able to build with your wife as a husband, then even if it's there, it could be there right now.
Sure, that's dope, man.
But because you're not seeing it, because you're not looking for it, you're not wanting it, then it's all null and void.
No, that's 1,000, bro. And this is not to say, you know, that what it looks like to glorify God and how you speak to your husband, you know, means that you're a doormat.
No, not at all.
Your husband just walks all over you, and especially when it comes to the Bible, man. I know one lady whose husband used the Bible to abuse her. Right?
Of course, I mean many people have done that through civilization.
Yeah, hundreds, right? Yeah, and so it's not to say that at all.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, but it is, you know. So if you do think of Ephesians 5, and Paul tells the woman to submit, the husband to love, you know, he's speaking to the husband, do your role, right? So don't turn around and say, I'm loving, therefore you need to submit, right? Or vice versa. I'm submitting, therefore you need to love, right? Yeah. Just do what you have to do. And when we both doing what we have to do, you know, in that case, the husband is looking for that fertile soil that you created. You created that. You're not putting red flags and, you know, shiny things pointing to the land, but you're just saying, here's the land, I've cultivated it. If he's doing his part, looking for it, then I think, man, this thing really works, bro. I was thinking about just the roles that are normally reversed when I speak to husbands. You know? So for me, I'm like your wife, and most gents I know, I'm just like, listen, it's okay. I need the whole year. I'll see you next year. I need to think about this thing.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, my wife is like, we're talking now.
Yeah.
We need to talk, right?
Yeah.
10 years later, we've both learned how to at least work with each other, you know. So I'm like, for me, practically, I have to at least acknowledge that she's hot, she's heated, she wants to chat now, so I need to acknowledge that. And say, okay, cool, maybe I could take 5 of the 100 things that you want to give me, just so at least you breathe. But she also understands now, okay, it's cool, I'll give you the 5 things and let you go off, and you'll come back when you're ready, right? But that took
just don't take too long.
Yeah. That disclaimer is always there, bro. It's always there, right? And so then coming back and having to chat. So I was quite interested in, you know, to know how you got to that point. Because earlier on, you had said, obviously, when you came back from the States, the stuff that you were dealing with, and then you went out and reached out to these dudes that you're meeting with now.
Yeah.
Did that influence how you or that's just always been you?
I grew up like this.
I see.
Yeah, I grew up like this. Like I was a softie, as one would call it. That's
a superpower, man.
Yeah. I was that kid that like, you do whatever, best believe my parents are gonna know.
Sure.
Like, I'm telling on you, I ain't gonna fight you.
You're an informer, bro.
Yeah, I ain't gonna fight you. I'm the pimpy of them pimps, you know. And then like once I got to high school, boarding school, I realized that I can't move like this.
Sure.
It's a little different, you know. This that prison level.
You're gonna get jumped.
Yeah, you know, snitches get stitches, baby. So I then had to navigate on how do I deal with that, you know. But then the minute I was out of high school and I was in the States, I was just like, nah, man, that stuff didn't work for me. Like because it put me in a space where it was like adapt or die. And I chose to adapt. And by adapting, I did a lot of things that were out of character.
Sure.
Because I went 1 degree off too many times that what used to be became no longer even a thing.
Sure.
You know, so yeah, like I've always been like emotionally, sensitively charged. Yeah. Like even if we are arguing, like I need to try and stay calm or else I won't even be able to argue with you because I'm just going to start crying.
Yeah.
Like I get too overwhelmed by emotions. So yeah, like I always have to try and stay calm in my interactions because like it's here, bro. Like it's here. No matter who it is. It could be a total stranger. Like I had an altercation. I mean, it wasn't an altercation, but I had like a back and forth with the guy at the airport the other day. And so he just came up to me. He was on a video call with his friend and he just shoved like the phone in my face. Like, yo, say hello to my friend. Say hello to my friend. And like it
you don't know this dude.
Yeah, no, it just completely threw me off. You know, like we're in SA, now I'm trying to protect myself. I thought like I'm about to get jumped, you know. So already everything is heightened. And then we start having this back and forth. I'm like, no, dude, like you don't just come up to people like that, you know, like at least like greet and like, you know, give me a warning. Like, but now I can feel myself. I'm getting here. I'm like, I ain't about to cry in front of this guy. Hold on. I'm like, bye. And I walked away. Because I was just like, no, this ain't the time. So,
on the video call.
Yeah, imagine. It's like, I done spoke to Hungani and he was crying. He was so happy to see me.
He was happy I called you, bro.
You know? So yeah, no, I've always been like this, but my boarding school experience almost took me away from it.
Yeah. KB calls it the art of drifting. Yeah. You take one step and then next thing you've taken 20 and you're gone.
And you're gone.
Yeah. Bro, just in closing, it's one thing you learned in the 5 years.
One thing I've learned in 5 years of marriage. One thing. Yo, there's a lot. Okay, it has to be like a good one thing. It's out of 10 marks. So I would say the pursuit doesn't end. Like pursuing my wife, pursuing one another. That is definitely one thing. Like, like there's moments where like we'll go out or she would have just done her hair and her nails and whatever, you know. And then like, you know, you do the things, you know, you say the right things.
Got it.
And, you know, and then like you see how it really does bring a smile
Yeah.
to her face, and just like a different bounce to her step.
Yeah.
You know, even for myself, come back with like a fresh cut. You know, did my facial. You know, I'm glowing. You know. She says something, then I'm out here doing a little dance. You know, I'm feeling all good. Let's go out for dinner.
Yeah.
You know,
Show all of this off.
Yeah, you know, come on now. So I think, yeah, like, don't stop pursuing your person just because, you know, you're married and you live together and you're used to seeing each other. Like, continue to see the beauty, the handsomeness, the gorgeousness that attracted you initially, because ain't nobody got attracted by the mind and the soul and all of that to begin with. You saw something and you're like, hey,
I could live with this.
I'm trying to talk to you. You got closer and you're like, oh dang, you got some brains too.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a good heart. Okay, I like that. You know, so yeah, continue to see that, because sometimes when you get used to something, you tend to lose sight of how valuable it is. You know, so yeah, when she's looking good, even when she's not looking good, according to you, still be like,
come on,
girl, it's not your best day, but I see you. You know, because we can be scruffy too.
Come on,
you know, we're all comfortable, all ashy. We don't wash for like 2 days. It's the weekend. Saving water, or maybe there's no water because it's Joburg. You know. Yeah. No, that's what I was saying.
Appreciate you, man, and thank you so much for you guys sharing your life on screen with the rest of us. It's really been an inspiration. I remember there was a time my wife was binge watching your content.
Hey, shout out to the wife.
Yeah. All I heard were when Ndlovu was in my house. I'm like, enough. Enough, woman.
I'm gonna start my own podcast. You're gonna watch me in a house.
No, man. Shout outs to that.
And I appreciate that.
And we see that you guys are friends, you know. So sometimes it's like, oh, okay, people are acting. As soon as the cameras go off, it's like, no, this is not it.
We're homies.
There is a sense in which you see light.
Yeah.
Right? When light is there, you see it, and it's not put on. So really appreciate that, man. And continue doing what you're doing. Metrix Men. That's where you guys at. Maybe you could plug it as well.
So I won't give like an official plug, but just check out Metrix Men, because we are working on a few things. Okay. Right now we're kind of rebuilding a whole new system. So just check out Metrix Men if you do need some support.
Spelled like the Matrix?
Yeah, like Matrix Men. Metrix Men. Because like, I know we're closing, but basically, like, there's a stone, I forget what it's called, but on the outside it's like black, and then when you break it open, on the inside it's like purpley and whatever. So that's like the imagery of a Matrix Man, which is basically like you're so hard on the outside, but you're such a gem on the inside.
Sure. It's dope, bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
All the best. We'll definitely have you in our thoughts and our prayers for that. And man, continue inspiring husbands. And shout outs to you, man. And just being a dope gent as well, you know.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's really appreciated, man. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
Yo, thanks for watching. This has been That Husband Podcast with me, Black Newborn. Again, this is where husbands try to know better so that we can do better. Please subscribe if you haven't. Comment. We'd like to hear your thoughts. Share this content with other people who find value from it. Hit the notification bell. I do that so that you can be updated on episodes that we drop. But continue celebrating and shouting out and championing husbands who are there, who are showing up, who are failing forward, who are taking accountability, loving their wives, being present, doing quality things with their kids, man. That's how we're going to change this country. So thank you. See you on the flip side, right? Peace.
And I think in response to us not wanting to be abusive or teaching men not to be abusive, we're told, be the lamb, die. Right? And so we took that role, right? And so I have a lot of that kind of theology and thinking in me that became the move more than lead, right?
Be a lion as well.
Be a lion as well, right?